The shit that I'm about to explain to you is gonna blow your mind. Most of us think that feminism was a good thing. I'm not talking about the current wave of feminism, because the current wave of feminism is controversial. I'm talking about the first wave of feminism, where women were fighting for the right to vote and equal pay for equal work. Most of us will agree that women should have the right to vote and get equal pay for equal work. But I'm gonna ask you a question that might seem unrelated. The question is, do you believe that the president and Congress really run the country, or do you think that there can be people above them pulling the strings? The majority of people believe that there are people above the president and Congress. I'll follow up with this. If there are people above the president and Congress that are really pulling the strings, who do you think it is? Most people believe that it's the people with the most money, the people that control the banks, all the major corporations, all the news stations. A lot of people don't know this, but the US is actually a corporation and it has owners. Some people call them the Illuminati or the elite. Do you think that there's anyone above the so-called elite that are really controlling things? Religious or not, most people think that Satan, the devil, Lucifer, whatever you refer to the being as, most people think that there's something running earth because of all of the evil that goes on earth. Have you heard that in the Bible it says Satan was cast unto the earth, and Satan is the ruler of earth? Whether you believe it or not, stay with me. Now let's bring it back to feminism. I'm gonna be straightforward with you. Normally when I talk to people in my everyday life about this stuff, I take it slow with them and I'm gentle with them. But I'm gonna be straightforward with you because you came by this video for a reason, and it's for me to tell you the truth and not sugarcoat it with you. The first wave of feminism was not about women getting the right to vote and equal pay for equal work. The true purpose of the women's rights movement was to turn women into slaves, aka workers, and also completely destroy the family unit. This plot to turn women into slaves and completely destroy the family unit was put into play by Lucifer and his followers, who are the so-called elite that run the earth. I lost a lot of people right there. And like, what the fuck? It sound too crazy, but stick with me. You'll understand by the end of this video. This dude right here, this is John D. Rockefeller. Most of y'all heard about the Rockefellers, right? Do you think that the Rockefellers are good people? That's an important question, and you're gonna see why. J.D. Rockefeller founded the General Board of Education in 1902. This is what made it mandatory for everyone in America to start going to school, because before this, people would go to church and they would learn to read and write there. They wanted everybody to go to school, so he started this Board of Education and he made it mandatory for everybody to go to school. This is extremely important right here. This quote by J.D. Rockefeller, he said that he wanted a nation of workers and not thinkers. Now let's bring it back to feminism. Back in the day, it wasn't the norm for women to work like it is today. They stayed home, they took care of the house, they took care of the children, while the man went to work. The Rockefeller said they wanted a nation of workers and not thinkers, right? If only the men work and the women stay home, then that means half the nation is working. And the Rockefeller said they wanted a nation, a full nation of workers and not thinkers. Now this is where shit is about to really get wild. What I'm about to share with you is an interview that was done with an actual elite member or Illuminati, whatever you want to refer to them as. This is a person that's above presidents and governments. The interview took place in the early 2000s. It's the only interview ever done with a real member of the elite. His name is Abe Finkelstein. This interview has been banned all over the internet. Somebody doesn't want you to see it. You go look for it right now. It's extremely hard to find. Abe Finkelstein said that he was able to do the interview and tell the truth because it was too late for anybody to do anything about what they're doing to the world. He says that they already have too much control and power. He also says that they are God's chosen people. But listen to who he said their God is.
You're allegedly God's chosen people. We are God's chosen people. It's just that most don't like to admit it, but our God is Lucifer.
It's about to get deep. Feminism and women getting the right to vote. Most of us think that it's political, right? Politics is a tool that the so-called elite use to conquer and divide. Finkelstein says that they own both sides. Listen.
It says that if you're to have any opposition, you will control that opposition. Well, of course, the smartest thing is to own both sides of every game.
But
that way you know the outcome. We own the Republicans, we own the Democrats, and we throw a few shekels into their campaign contributions that we give them, and they take the money and they do what we want.
Back in the day, most women were fine not having the right to vote. Despite what they teach us, women were okay with not voting because we vote for a president, right? The president is the commander-in-chief of the military. If the president chooses when we go to war, the people that should get to pick the president who might send them off to war should be the people that would have to go to war. And if you voted, then you can be drafted into the war. Women were fine with not being drafted into the war, so they were okay with not voting. One thing about men seek counsel. The men would discuss with their wife the choices and the options that they had, and then they would go vote on behalf of the family. It wasn't like the woman's opinion did not matter at all and she had no say-so. I don't care if a man has an entire team behind him. Before he introduces a new decision to his team, you can bet that his wife already heard about it. He already discussed it with his wife before he even brought it to the team. I want you to listen to what Finkelstein said that they did to trick women into becoming slaves and destroying the family unit.
You know, I had a conversation here not long ago with an individual, and I got into the feminist agenda in the United States.
Yeah, we got that going back in the early 1900s. The women's rights movement. We started off. See, when you're gonna have a game and you got a bigger goal, you can't go in like a Sherman tank going through something. You gotta start a little small. And so we said, hey, how about you get equal pay for equal work? And women have the right to vote. And everybody bought into that.
The women's rights movement was a trick. He said that when you have a large goal, you can't go in like a tank. You have to take things slow. You got to start small. What was the goal? The goal was to get all the women to become workers, aka slaves, like the men. Now, we gonna get deeper. All my videos on my page are deep. Why is a worker a slave? The answer is because Lucifer and his followers run Earth. In order for societies to work, they need people at the McDonald's. They need people to work at the Walmart. They need plumbers. They need doctors. They need lawyers. They need scientists, truck drivers, pilots, chefs, you name it. They need people to work these jobs in order to run their world. Women nowadays believe that men that are against feminism are misogynistic or anti-women. I want you to listen to what Finkelstein says about why they chose to attack the women first.
And we started with the women because it's hard to get the men. The women are the weakest sex, as we know from that old Adam and Eve story, I guess.
What you have to understand as a woman, the men are actually women's first line of protection. If they can get the women to not trust or respect the men, then the women don't have any protection. They're vulnerable. Now remember, the goal was to get women to work too. And to get a little deeper, they wanted their population of cattle to stop breeding so much. And yes, I'm talking about people. When I say cattle, it's harder to control a large population.
But you got to thin out the herd once in a while. Otherwise, the herds get too big. And if the herds get too big, they eat up all the resources. So you got to thin out the herd once in a while.
If you destroy the family unit, there are less children that are being born, which is less mouths to feed. Fast forward to present day. Is it working? Women are literally calling themselves independent, saying that they don't need a man because they have a job. Men and women are different. Men aren't better than women and women aren't better than men. Men go out to work so that they can provide for a family. That's a man's dream. Have the money to provide for their family the way that he wants to. But when a woman goes to work, women go to work and become Miss Independent. That was by design. They fell for the trick.
But at any rate, we got the women going. And now look at all the women. Most all of them around the world, especially here in America, they're married by the time they're 40, but then they can't have too many little children themselves because they've already ruined those years chasing the almighty gold, the dollar, the shekel, in there. So they're going to wind up a bunch of old maids because nobody wants them.
They want women to turn up, party, go to the clubs, throw that ass, and go to work all the way until they're too old to get a man that genuinely wants to love, protect, and raise a family with her. Why do they want that from the women? Because they want a smaller population. Who gave men the duty to protect women? And I'm not religious at all, but the truth just is what it is. Our God. When I say our God, I'm talking about you and me. Our God made men the protectors of women. Our God is different from the elite's God. Finkelstein and the elite are children of darkness. We're the opposite. We are the children of the sun or of the light. To most people, that's gonna sound crazy, and it's okay. Just listen. It sounds crazy because most of you are asleep and you don't give a shit about anything important that's going on in life. You haven't been seeking truth, consciously looking for the truth and trying to find out things. You're just accepting stuff that sounds the best. That's not meant to offend you. I don't want anybody to be offended, although I know people are going to be offended, but I have to be honest with you. But I can help you wake up though. That's why I made this page. Go to my page and watch all my videos. I guarantee damn near every video that you watch will change your perception on something important, and that will lead you to waking up. It'll kickstart you. It'll jumpstart your awakening process. When our God created the vessels that we inhabit during our stay on earth, he created the male vessel stronger and more logical so that the males can protect the females. A soul is not male or female. Only the vessel is male or female. But you have been a man before, and you've been a woman before. Reincarnation, despite whatever you heard about it or whatever you think about it, reincarnation is real, and you've been on earth before, and you've lived many, many lives. You just forget. Lucifer and his followers make you forget. You are trapped in a cycle of reincarnation right now, and you have no clue. Most of y'all think YOLO. You only live once. Women, if you do not have a man in your life that you can love, respect, and listen to, then you do not have protection. When you incarnate here, the beings that are meant to protect you, you don't have that. The males are programmed to pick up on tricks and lies like feminism. This is why you won't find many male feminists. A lot of men ain't rocking with that movement. They don't like it at all. Not because they don't like women. That is a silly conclusion to come to if you really think there are men. Now, there are a small group of men that is something really wrong with them, and they don't like women for whatever reason. The reason men don't like it is because we see what it's done to you and us as a whole.
The women, they don't want to sit home and have families anyway. They'd rather have a career. That's a nice, exciting thing for a woman.
They want you focused on money and working, buying makeup, clothes, shoes, purses, taking trips, and partying until you're too old to find a decent man to raise a family with. And they don't give a fuck about you. No children. They don't want you to have a family. Some kids, some grandkids, a husband that love and care for you and want to protect you. That's not what they want for you. They want men and women at work while the children are getting raised by the education system, aka Lucifer and his followers. Remember when we talked about J.D. Rockefeller founding the General Board of Education in 1902? They decide what the curriculum is, and they decide on what everybody gets to learn when they go to school. Do you think that they want to teach you the truth and help you? Most people probably thought no, and you're right. They teach lies. But that's why most of y'all listening to my voice right now is walking around believing that you're on a flying ball, blasting through space and spinning at 67,000 miles per hour. When in reality, you look outside, you walk outside, common sense is telling your ass we are not spinning. We are not moving. Common sense tell you we stationary. Go outside and look. Why the fuck we can't tell that we're spinning around and blasting through space? A lot of y'all are thinking, because I've talked to a gang of people about this, I already know what the people are thinking. A lot of people are thinking, well, it's because of gravity. That was a lie. You and all the scientists were taught that in school by Lucifer and his followers. Again, I know that it sounds crazy. Go to my page and watch the content. with the open mind. Remember I said we are children of the sun, our God is the sun? Every single civilization before religion came into play worshiped the sun as God for a reason. Lucifer and his followers taught the sun is a blazing ball of fire 93 million miles away that'll give you cancer. And wait, don't you dare even look at it, because if you look at it, it'll blind you. Do you know why they taught you that? They taught you that because they know if you look at it, not only will you know that it's not a blazing ball of fire 93 million miles away, but looking into the sun will solar charge your soul, leading you to wake up and start to actually see the truth and see through all of the lies and deception that they put out. And you know what else it'll do? It'll make you start remembering your dreams. And guess what? Follow me. We remember our past lives in our dreams. Again, I have to say this. I understand that it sounds crazy, but the truth is what it is. Have you ever had a dream where it was you? It was your soul, but you weren't in that body. You weren't in your current body. You were in a completely different vessel, but you knew all of the life experiences of the vessel that you were in during the dream. That dream, if you've had one of those, make a comment if you have. That dream is about your past life. That's you in one of your past lives. The problem is most of y'all don't remember your dreams. If all the shit that I'm saying sounds crazy, trust me, I know, and it's because you're asleep. Go to my page, watch the content. It'll help you wake up. I know my purpose. I know exactly why I incarnated here. I came back to wake up the children of the sun that have been trapped in a cycle of reincarnation. If Lucifer is running it, guess what? This is hell. They're trapped in hell in a cycle of reincarnation. You were meant to come across me. Let me ask you a question. Do you think you have a better chance at finding a quality man that'll love you, protect you, and raise a family with you at the age of, let's say, 21 to 23, or at the age of 40? Men have gotten tricked by Lucifer too. A lot of the men aren't even capable of protecting a family because they're lost. Protection in 2023 is not just about fighting, having a gun, and knowing how to use it. In order to protect your woman and your family these days, men, you have to have a fine-tuned level of discernment. You have to be able to see through the lies. You got to be able to tell bae like, hey, we're breastfeeding all our children, because that's the natural way that our God intended for us. We're not feeding our newborn this formula. We don't even know what the formula is. We don't got a goddamn clue what's in it, causing all types of mucus problems and shit. That's not what we doing. That is protecting your child from Lucifer. They don't want you to breastfeed. They want you to give your baby formula. Instead of using your natural God-given breast milk, they want you to pay for it. As a man, you got to be able to tell your woman, we're not about to let them inject our baby with all types of shit as soon as they born. We not doing that. You have to be able to use your logic and your thinking to save women and children from these things. Men are physically superior. Men think more logical, but spiritually and emotionally, women are superior. And that's for a reason. Because they're superior emotionally, when they hear something like, you gotta go ahead and inject your baby with this, because if you don't, this might happen or that might happen. They give you all these fear tactics. Now, women are more emotional and they're loving and caring. So they're like, I want the best for my baby. So they're like, I don't want that to happen to my baby. Let me do whatever they're saying. Men are logical. You gotta be there and hear that shit. Like, okay, everybody hold on. Before we do this, does that make sense? Does it make sense that God would create men and women? He would create the vessels. In order for the population to survive, we have to get injected with stuff as soon as we're born. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound natural. You got to be able to tell her that and make it make sense on some real shit. Go to my page and watch all my content. I guarantee I will change your life. I will change your perception on the world, how you see everything.